Okay. Good evening. I want to respect our hardworking, fabulous teaching staff's time for being here tonight after they've already taught a long day. So let's give it up for our teachers. My name's Karen Hatton. I'm assistant principal here at Tamalpias High School. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. It's actually a really beautiful evening. Nice to be out. I actually have the honor of being the one who works on the master schedule for our school, which is a big, giant puzzle. But it is a really important, obviously, component of our academic program. So tonight you're going to have an overview of our AP and honors programs. Each of the teachers is going to talk about sort of their individual program. We have Miss Pooley here who will kind of give an overview about scheduling and balance and choices. And I'm just kind of going to say that it's a great way for your student to challenge themselves by taking on some academically rigorous courses. And it's also very, very important to remember balance. Remember and talk to your student. I do see a couple of students in the audience, a few, which is fantastic because ultimately it's their experience. So we do want to be partners with them and what's interesting to them, what they're passionate about, what they really want to study more rigorously. So I would encourage you after tonight's presentation to go home and have a learning partnership conversation with your student about what their goals are and what's really interesting for them. Because some of these classes represent some hard work, and I think you have to really love it. So the other thing I wanted to say is that our counselors are going to be heading into scheduling season starting in February 6th, I believe, which means they're going to be actually in the classroom with your students and using our tutorial periods and our classroom periods to talk about your students' choices, which means they are not available for individual appointments. And you have to also think about giving them some grace if you do send an email, because again, their priority is going to be working with your students in person. So their access to their computers and their emails will be somewhat limited for a couple weeks. And I think it's really important. We've done it this way for the last couple years, and I think it's really nice for your kids to be able to ask in the moment questions of a counselor. They'll enter their course selections right into the computer there, and that will close at the end of winter break. So students will have a little bit of time over winter break to make some decisions, and then we'll close that portal down. But in any case, thank you so much for being here, and thank you teachers for being here too. I'll have you introduce yourselves as the slides come up and you talk about your program. And I want to introduce you to Ms. Sandra Pula, who is a counselor in our fabulous counseling department.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hatton. All right, who has the slides? Oh, thank you. So welcome parents, welcome students. We're super happy to have you here tonight. This is the first time for me actually speaking in front of a parent panel since pre-pandemic. So this is actually kind of exciting. So we will introduce each of the teachers will introduce themselves as we come to their slide, but I get the honor of going second. And so wellness and counseling suggestions. So this is really, really important because we build our master schedule around your student's choice. And what that means is as they are entering to the AP and honors world, that opens up in 10th grade. We have a few honors AP Computer Science Principal, honors Physiology, honors Math courses that will open up sophomore year, but very few AP courses. And generally AP Computer Science Principals, if they do sign up for it, this year sophomores didn't get seats because it's prioritized by juniors and seniors because they have less time in their schedule to take that course. And then sophomores will then be able to take it either their junior or senior year. Now, with that being said, as a counselor, the biggest jump into honors and AP courses is the junior year. We have, number one, they don't have PE in their schedule, so that opens up another space. We have lots of options, which we're going to go through later, the teachers will go through. But what we find as counselors, we are seeing more and more students taking probably too many honors and APs and not considering their mental health and well-being. All it takes is one medical setback. You get, hopefully not, but COVID, or we've had kids out with mono, or they break a leg in a sport, and then they're out of school for a week or two, and all of a sudden the snowball begins. Because these classes are paced, they are very rigorous. On average, for an honors or an AP course, they're probably going to have, the teachers will talk a little bit more about that, but probably on average at least 1 to 2 hours more a week of homework and study time. So when we build your student's schedule and they have selected these honors and APs and then decide that they want to drop, they may be stuck in the course because the on-level courses, on-level college prep courses may not have space, and we're seeing that already. So as parents, I want you to be mindful if you have a current sophomore that's moving into the junior year, the academic courses that they must take, of course, are English or AP English, US History or AP US History. Every junior has to take chemistry. They are also going to be taking their math course, and so honors and AP math courses are also available. If they're in a language and are planning to continue with that language, you'll have a language course. And then I would also say that it's important if they're taking multiple honors and AP courses and they are involved extracurricularly, that they think about taking a free period the junior year because of the rigor of the schedule. It gives them time during the day. They can have a free first, fifth, fourth, or seventh, depending on how they select their schedule. And it gives them time in the day to maybe get started before they're heading out to practice or off to their job to get some work done. They can stay in the library. But it really is important that you talk about balance with your kids, because colleges aren't just looking at the number of AP and honors. They want well-rounded students. They want students that are involved in community service, maybe have a part-time job, are doing things within their community. Our theater program here is fabulous. So all of those extra hours that they're putting in after school, that counts as community service, because that's something they're giving to their community. So balance is really key to success in our AP and honors courses. AP and honors courses, why AP and honors? Why would you want to take an AP or an honors course? Well, it's for challenge, and also for every AP and honors course that you take, there is the opportunity to have that extra grade bump. So an A would be a 4.0 A, but would count as a 5.0 A in an honors or AP. So with that being said, though, there is a caveat for UCs and CSU admission. They cap honors and AP grade bumps from 10th and 11th grade to no more than 4 total 4-year-long classes. So if your student is a current sophomore and has, an honors math class, or maybe they're taking honors physio, that means once they hit past 3 honors or APs their junior year, they're not going to receive that extra grade bump in their GPA. And that's because they are trying to be more equitable, because not all students have access to the number of APs and honors that we have here. Not to say that they don't want to see them continuing taking those courses if they are ready for those courses. And also continuing on their senior year to take honors and APs. They like to see the consistency, but just know that it's capped at 4-year-long grade bumps for sophomore and junior year. And that's the GPA that they use for admissions purposes. Again, the junior year is the most rigorous, I feel, as a counselor. Dropping AP and honors courses, we have students right now trying to drop out of AP English, and our on-level English classes are maxed out, a lot of them. So then comes a dilemma, well, how am I going to fulfill my second semester if I still need that course? So as parents, your students are allowed to take up to 2-year-long courses. You can pay for online courses, but this is when you have to come in as a parent, maybe get them into an online class, and have to pay for outside courses if we don't have seats available in the on-level courses. Extra homework, again, we talked a little bit about that. And then also the difference between an honors and an AP is that for the AP course in May, generally you'll be taking your AP exams, and this is a college level advanced placement. So if they do well on that exam, it's scored 1 through 5. The college will decide whether or not they're going to give them credit in that subject area or possibly in an elective subject area. So it's one less course that they would be taking at the college. But again, that's up to the college's discretion. Even our community colleges now are looking at AP and honors, AP courses and the AP exams and allowing students to bypass certain classes like freshman English. So are there questions about this? It's really important to talk with your students about the time management piece. If you know that your child has ADHD or has anxiety, you could end up with multiple AP classes or honors on the same block period, and we don't give preference for schedule changes to change the block period or if your student is an athlete. So if they have an end of the day, a fourth period, or seventh period AP course, AP math, any of the AP or honors courses, and they're having to leave early for dismissal, it is their responsibility to make sure that they're meeting back with their teachers during tutorial, letting their teachers know, because we can't change their schedule to accommodate extracurricular activities. Very tight master schedule. Yes, in the back?
So I'm curious, I didn't know about the grades, the cap grade bumps from the UC and the CSUs. So their GPA for a UC would be one thing. If you're applying to a non-UC, non-school, is your GPA higher?
So that depends on the private college or out-of-state college. Generally, yes, they'll look at all of the grade bumps, but specifically for UCs and CSUs, they cap. So you'd have to check that specific school's website. There was a question here, I think? Yes.
So is it 4 for 2 years, or it's 4 each year?
4 for 2 years, 8 semesters worth of grade bumps for 10th and 11th grade.
Yeah. On the same topic, so when you say 4, you said AP and honors total 4, not like 4 APs.
Exactly. So if your student is a sophomore and they're taking honors physio right now and they had that 1 grade bump from sophomore year, they're only going to give them 3 more for junior year. Yes. Pardon me?
So it's 4
year-long courses.
total over your whole
Over your 10th and 11th grade. You can take AP classes for sure. The UCs and other colleges want to see you doing that your senior year. But the problem is they're not going to see the senior year grades until usually the end of the senior year or mid-semester. So they only give the grade bumps for 10th and 11th grade for UC, CSU admissions. They're utilizing that GPA.
Okay, I guess I was confused. You said if they took honors this year, then they only get 3 more.
Yes, as a sophomore, if they're in 10th grade, and they did 1 year of an honors class already this year, they can do 3 their junior year, which is a lot. But if they do 4, if they were to take 4, they're not going to get an extra grade bump for that 4th class. Yes?
You talked about online courses as well. Is there a special process that we need to go through?
Yes. Yes, so you would email the counselor, there's paperwork that needs to be filled out, we need a copy of the course syllabus, we have to make sure that the courses meet UC, CSU eligibility, and then we forward that to Dr. Farr for his approval, and then once we get the approval, you finish the course, submit the official transcript to your student's counselor, and we add that to their TAM records. They can only do that for 2 outside courses. Some of you, though, if your kids are going to be home in the summer, how many of you know that COM, your community college right here, was just voted #1 in the state for community colleges? And it's free. You can dual enroll. They can take community college courses. So don't overload them with APs. Think about, what are we doing in the summer? Maybe this is a summer that we're not going to be doing too much travel. They can take a course at COM. They can get a little part-time job as a lifeguard. And that looks like an AP course. So lots of options.
That's a follow-up question on that, sorry. So if they did it at the local community college, is that still deemed online and they're only allowed to do 2?
No, because we do not add the community college courses to the TAM transcript. So the beauty of dual enrollment with COM is they can take as many courses as they want. But that is their official college transcript, because those are college courses, and they have to disclose that. So if they get a D in a class at COM, that is going to, not look too strongly, but.
So the online, is it 2 a year or
2 total for the 4 years. They're only allowed to do 2 online outside courses. Did I see a hand over here?
So can a student take AP in their sophomore year?
We only have very, very limited. There's 1 AP course. Where's Ms. Kennedy? And there's AP Euro. Students generally will take that junior and senior year, but we do have AP Euro. We also have AP Art History, but that is only one section of that, and it fills up very quickly with seniors. So any AP that is on the sophomore course request sheet, they are eligible to apply for, but the likelihood of actually getting a seat can be very slim because of the juniors and seniors. Honors Advanced Algebra is mostly sophomores, so there is that honors component. If you're a ninth grader and you're going to be ready for Honors Advanced Algebra, you could take Honors Advanced Algebra, and if you are passionate about sciences, you could also take Honors Physiology. But because you have PE in your schedule, we don't take online PE, so you can't drop PE to take another honors course. Okay? Great questions, though.
The four AP honors classes considered in the GPA for UCs and CSUs, if they have more than 4 total over those 4 years, how do you determine which ones, perhaps the 4 highest?
Yes, so the UCs will actually tear apart the GPA, and they will do their own calculation, and they usually go with the 4 highest from the sophomore and junior year.
Yes, I'm curious about this dynamic scheduling based on which classes the kids choose. For the current 10th grade, my understanding is that it's one of the largest classes you've had. So I'm wondering if the number of APs and honors stays fixed so that they'll be limited, or will it 100% depend on what the kids are choosing?
It's going to stay fixed because we can only offer so many sections of AP and honors, and those seats primarily have to go to juniors and seniors. So, but Ms. Hatton might have more. Is it staying pretty fixed? I think we're offering possibly 1 new honors, which is the architecture, but that is a capstone to architecture 1, 2, 3, 4, so probably would be juniors that would be taking that.
I'm actually asking for the juniors.
Yeah, I can speak to that, and then we can also, I know there's lots of questions, we can hold some for the end. I want to let our teachers present. In terms of our section allocation, I mean, it is, like I said, a big puzzle, and there is a little bit of both. A little bit of it is fixed, and a little bit it is dependent on student choice. However, the seats go to 12th graders first, then 11th graders, and then 10th graders. And there is a very real reality that if your child is a junior and wants to get into something that's very popular, that it will fill up with our seniors. So it's a little bit of both. Yeah, but class size does play into it, and student choice does play into it. Okay, thank you, Sandy, for being here tonight. Okay, so at this point, I'm just gonna let the teachers kind of go through. We can save our questions till the end, and then myself or the teachers who are here can help respond to those questions. Okay. Do you want a microphone? I like a microphone.
I'm not a big microphone. Can you hear me? Hi, I'm Barbara Carita Dietz. I am an English teacher here at TAM, and I do teach AP English Language and Composition. I hurt my ankle today, so I'm going to be leaning against this chair, and I apologize to Ben that my back is to you. There are a couple of very important things to know about AP, the status of AP English at TAM these days. We used to have prerequisites to get into AP classes, the way that you wouldn't expect to be in like an AP calculus class without having first taken algebra. However, there's a little bit more flexibility when it comes to English classes. So although there used to be prerequisites such as having a B-level grade in your sophomore class and having a recommendation from teachers, we no longer have formal prerequisites. The AP English classes are only open to juniors and seniors. They are not open to sophomores. That is different from our upper level other course options, where most of them are just open to juniors and seniors, but a few can be open to sophomores, such as nonfiction, which is a prerequisite for advanced journalism. Our AP classes, instead of having specific prerequisites, we have recommendations, and we suggest that your student speak to their current English teacher and or to one of the teachers that's currently teaching AP English Language and Composition or AP Literature. The kinds of qualities that we want to see in a student who's taking AP English is a student who has pretty consistently been getting their workload done in their English classes and being able to balance that with their other course workload. The second thing that's really important is not just that consistency in getting the work done, but that this is not something that's overwhelming to them, right? They're not scrambling to get it done, but this is a comfortable experience for them. In addition, having reasonable writing skills, a good foundation for the amount of writing they're going to be doing in an AP course is important. With that said, the AP classes are open to both juniors and seniors. And so your student has the opportunity, if they take a college prep English class junior year, to build their skills, get a great foundation for success in an AP English class their senior year. And so it's better to take a regular CP class in English, do relatively well in it, build your skills, get a B or an A in it or a solid C, and then by the time you get to a senior year, take an AP class and do well, right? Have that ability to really do well. Why? Because it's not just about the grade bump in your transcript. If you take an AP class and you're not ready for it, and you're scrambling at a D to C level, you're an anxious mess, and getting a C in the class hasn't really helped you that much. Your grade bump has gone from a C to a B. Whereas if you'd been in a CP class your junior year, you might have been happy, healthy, doing great, getting all your skills built up. You've still gotten that B-level grade. You have a happy time. You're getting to do your sports. And then by senior year, you have not changed your transcript bump any. You're actually still getting that same GPA average. You're just a happier human being doing it. So, but the advantage then is, because in addition to the grade bump, you can also possibly get that, what's the placement, right? So you're earning college level credit, maybe getting out of your freshman essay class or your freshman intro to literature class. And that actually has a lot of value, because when you've earned that 4 credits or 5 credits at your college, that's not just valuable in terms of what you've learned in the foundation, but it's monetarily valuable, right? Because if it's $30,000 a year to go to that school, right, and it's only 4 classes, there you go. It's over $7,000 to have passed that AP class in your senior year. So we recommend flexibility when you take them.
Yeah. So I see here that you kind of have talked about taking the college prep English their junior year to kind of boost them into the senior year. Is that true for both comp? So you could choose?
So
comp
yes,
or lit?
so I'm about to talk about the 2 different classes. So there are 2 classes, an AP Literature class and an AP English Language and Composition. The difference is that the literature class is sort of what you normally think of as an English class. It's fiction-based, literature-based. Students are reading, interpreting, analyzing fiction, short stories, novels, plays, poems. And so it's kind of taking what you've done your freshman and sophomore year of core and really elevating the kinds of expectations we have for the difficulty of reading and for the quality of in-depth analysis, as well as the length and quality of your writing, your essay writing. AP English Language and Composition is actually a really cool course, and then it's very cross-disciplinary. So it kind of combines what you've done in core with having an English class and a social studies class, but it's an English class focused on nonfiction. So it's a really fabulous class for folks who are science-oriented, STEM-oriented, math folks. You can take English, but be working on the kinds of skills you need in literacy to succeed across the curriculum in college. Because you might be a science student but have to write biology papers. You might be a math student and, believe it or not, write a paper in math. Like, that actually happens. Like, there are journals with mathematicians writing math papers, not just equations. So STEM folks find it very satisfying, and then when you go off to college, it can be a real boon, because if you're in a STEM program and you're a reasonable writer, those professors are going to want you as a TA to help them. So either of those can be taken in junior or senior year. Although there's been a tradition of people taking AP Comp their junior year and Lit their senior year. There's no reason. We've had students doing it both ways, and we highly, highly recommend that if a student is prepared and everybody believes their teacher, the counselor, their parents, themselves, all have confidence that they can take an AP class and do well in the balanced junior year, that they really take the class they're more interested in, right? There's no one right or wrong.
So about one more.
Okay. So as I said, the literature and composition, they're really articulating their focus in literature, and it helps them in all the literature-based disciplines in college. If you really like English and think that's something you might want to continue with, that's really a fabulous course for you to take. But also, students will be next week going to the electives fair, and we are represented, even though our classes are not electives, they're options for junior and senior year, so they can find out more about what the other literature-based courses are that they can take. As I said, language and composition is great for STEM folks. I've already talked a lot about it. We're really looking at reading nonfiction essays, excerpts from books, analyzing the arguments and the way that language is used to articulate opinions and argumentation, and then students apply that to their own good writing. So the question is, should your student take AP English? All of our courses are interesting and engaging, so in the course of this week and next, students should pay attention to the upper level course offering a slideshow that we're going to be giving in English classes, either this week, they may have given it, or next week. Go to the electives fair and the upper options fair, and really think about that balance.
Great. And you should disclose that you teach AP Comp, so you're the
I did.
bias.
Oh, I did. I said that at the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're
So.
a little biased on it.
No, I'm not biased. I really think that you should consider which ones to take, and then also, I thought I was trying to get across that we as a department truly believe that all our courses are very rigorous, and we want everybody to build their skills at the pace that makes sense for you and for your student.
Yeah. All right.
Hi, hello everybody. I'm Charlie Garfink, and I teach history here at TAM. We have two AP courses that we offer at TAM. One is AP US History, and the other is AP European History, which, full disclosure, I teach. But I'm not biased. I think you should take both of them. So AP US History is a course that can be taken in substitute of a course you already need to take. So everybody in the junior year has to take US History. And as an option, you have the option to take AP US History, which is covering the same content, but in a much more in-depth way and a little bit more expansively. Ms. Dolan is the teacher of AP US History. She's my neighbor, and I get to watch her operate all the time. And it's a fabulous course and just really fascinating. It covers a much bigger time period than regular US History, so it covers stuff that was already covered in like 8th grade. It goes back to it because it's important. It moves very fast, as she says. Students are expected to take notes on 25 to 30 pages of college-level text each week outside of class. That's where your extra hours of homework are coming from. Big readings, college level, as you say. Class prepares students for the AP exam, although this is not required. You do not have to take the AP exam. That's something you should explore on your own, whether it's necessary or not. For many students, this is the first social studies class that really challenges them, and there oftentimes is an element of panic sets in each fall when they realize how much work is involved. Going from the other core history class, world history classes, a lot less homework, a lot more just doing things in class and doing readings in class. And when you get to AP, there's a lot of stuff on your own. And I'm repeating the same, I could say the same things for AP European history. So a lot of these things apply to both of these courses. Sorry? One more second. It's not an easy A, but you will, if you get into it, you will get so much more out of this course than you would have gotten from just taking regular US history. Much more in depth, and you will, if you do decide to take the test, you won't have missed anything by not taking a history course in college from this. It's very valuable. Okay. Oh, should I take APUSH or US history? Again, we just kind of talk about this the same way. It's much more in depth. If you love history, if you really enjoy that, definitely take AP US history. If you're unsure, talk to your current world history teacher. Go talk to Ms. Dolan. She loves to meet prospective students, etc. See if it's a right fit for you. That's the best thing I can suggest you do for this. AP European History. So AP European History is a complete elective. You do not have to take this because you have to take other history courses each year. However, if you're like my daughter who went to Archie Williams and you love history, you're dying to take an AP in history because you want to take something in AP that you enjoy already because it makes the extra work go by a little bit more easily. So AP European History, college level, primarily for juniors and seniors, simply because it will be your second history course you will be taking. So it's better to have a little basis in it. If you take it at the same time you're taking world history, there's a lot of repetition there. And it's a difficult course for sophomores, having taught it. Covers the period Renaissance to modern day, focus on all those areas, political, economic, but also artistic, philosophical, and social themes. Had a great discussion today about utilitarianism in class that the kids really enjoyed, and why sometimes murder can be a moral thing to do or not. And primary, secondary sources, writing skills, prepared for the AP exam also. However, you do not have to take it. It is completely optional. No prerequisites. Faster pace in world history, and 15 to 25 pages of college level text. I'm not as mean as Ms. Dolan is. I only have 25 pages, although don't hold me to that because sometimes it's more than that. So once again, juniors, if you're going to take APUSH, you might not want to take it, but I have had juniors who take APUSH and AP Euro at the same time and did okay. But definitely senior year when there is no other AP history course offered.
Thank you.
That's it.
And we'll send this slide deck out so that you have the information and the teacher contact at the end of this evening. We'll send it out to our TAM community. Science.
Hi there, I'm Simon McBride. I teach chemistry, AP chemistry at TAM. I'm presenting quite a few courses tonight. Some of which I can speak to, some of which less so. I would take a picture of this if I were you. Does anybody have any questions about this? Yes. Hi.
What is the science that you would take in 10th grade, for example, if you weren't taking a
So I think the two options you have are honours physiology, which I think you have to take concurrently with Living Earth.
Yes.
Sorry, code switching there. And honours physics is possible. I think there's only one kid who's taken that because it does follow your 9th grade physics in the universe. So you are prepared then to take honours physics.
Yeah. So all students will be preloaded into Living Earth as a 10th grader, chemistry in the Earth as 11th grader. And as a 9th grader, they take physics in the universe. So already all students will automatically have those courses. For 10th graders, they could choose physiology. Well, honors physiology and physiology are taught together. So students can enroll in physiology and then make the choice or the decision to do an honors track within that class. It's the same thing with physics, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really it's those two and or environment
Yeah, so this all goes along with 9th grade is always physics in the universe, 10th grade is living earth, and 11th grade is chemistry. There are some ways around that. I know, I don't want to overly speak to those things. I know that there are some students who have taken classes in their summer. So they've taken, like, in their 10th and 11th grade, they've taken chemistry at different online chemistry, and so some juniors have popped up in my AP chemistry class that I didn't expect to see there, but they kind of bypassed the system. People are doing that. I don't know if we're pushing that at all. I don't know if you want your student to do that. It does change the complexion a little bit of some of the APs that you take, depending on the year you take it. For example, if you're taking AP Chem as a senior now, that's maybe not going to show up in your transcript in the same way. They also know that they've gotten in by March, so I lose them a little bit. I'm like, what do you need? And the $7,000, right? What do you need here? And they're like, oh, I need a C. I'm like, okay, got you. Should we jump on? This is probably the main thing, though, that you want to know.
ACE is AP Environmental Science.
Yeah, so there's honors physiology. That's taught by Miss Backer. I think only Miss Backer. That's taught concurrently with physiology, and that is a sophomore, junior, and senior class. I think we've taken, I don't know anything about bio. I took a lot of classes, but I don't really know anything. So, honors physics. This is a great class. It's taught at the same time as physics. It's just a little bit more advanced than your physics. Just kind of pushing on the math a little bit more, going into a little bit more depth. But it is taught at the same time in the same classrooms as physics, or at the same time. But there's your boost there. I know a lot of seniors who take honors physics and have me for AP chemistry. AP bio. This was taught by Mary Worth. Mary Worth, who literally wrote the book on AP bio, has just decided to retire. So that's sad, but will be taken over by the incredibly capable Laura Valentine, who some of your students might have. She was an honors physiology teacher, but she's now taken over the AP biology, so she will definitely be able to, as close as possible, fill Mary's shoes.
I thought you were taking it over, Simon.
No. This is my class. AP Chemistry, I can speak more to this. If you want to email those other teachers, you can ask them about that. This is mine. This is follows on from chemistry. Some of the kids, like I said, have taken summer AP Chem, or summer chemistry, and then they take my class. I love this class. I love teaching it. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of where I think everything comes together, your ability to explain complex ideas in a simple manner. Can you put together an actual cogent argument where people make sense? Can you defend what you're stating with clear evidence? So we really push that idea. This is governed by the AP. The AP really encourages and demands that students can clearly articulate their ideas and clearly defend what they're saying using evidence. So I'm constantly saying why to the kids. I'm like, and why? And they're like, ugh. And they have to come up with something good. Their math has to be extremely on point. They cannot miss a lot. I don't give that much homework because I think it's one of those classes that you need to read, you need to work, you need to read the material, and then in class we hit a lot of math, we look at a lot of data analysis. I also attempt to make your children capable of walking into a kitchen and finding the cups. Where do you think the forks might be in here? So, find a beaker. What's a beaker? I don't know. Maybe Google a picture of a beaker. So, it is one of those. It is one of those moments, though. I think a lot of kids will take the class and then you let them run in the lab, and it is really, really fascinating to see who absolutely thrives and dominates in the lab environment. It's never who you think. You can't predict it. And there's kids who are incredible test takers that I get in my classroom who cannot find the beakers, who cannot physically move in the space. And then there's kids who really struggle maybe with some of the math concepts, who have to put a lot of extra time in. But if you put them in the lab, they just run the show, and they're so competent. It's amazing to see. So that's one of the best things. You know what? They probably are. Thank you for that. Thank you for them. This is AP Environmental Science, taught by Quinn Bro and John Ginsberg. A junior and senior class. More bio. Don't really know anything about it. There's the rest of the info that you need. Yeah.
Thanks, Simon.
Math.
Okay, it's going to be a team effort. I'm Wendy Baumgartner, and I teach honors pre-calc and AP Stat this year. And Margie Brindley is going to tell you all about honors.
I'm a little bit of an intruder, so I'm going to be quick. I'm teaching all of the honors advanced algebra sections this year, and there's no test. There used to be a test you would take a test, pass the test to get into honors advanced algebra. Now it's if your student, or you, if you're the student, have an A or B in geometry in about March, I think March, April, you'll get an email that invites you to sign up for honors. Please pay attention to that email, because what happened this year was we had 3 sections of honors, and a bunch of people said, wait, I didn't see the email. And so we ended up having to change the schedule and make a 4th section. So watch carefully for that email.
Which will probably most likely not happen. So it's really important that you watch, if you're interested, the email, because that's, again, to Sandy's point, that's how we build our schedule, and that's how we get our allocations for our section. It's very near impossible to open sections midstream. So really, really important, and we'll communicate this multiple times out to your students.
So the difference between honors advanced algebra and regular advanced algebra is substantial. Like Charlie was saying, and everybody else here, there's a lot more work. You should expect to be doing work. A lot of students think, okay, I can finish all my work in class. That's not true in honors advanced algebra. So you should expect that you're going to have to do work outside of class, and the material is the same curriculum with a little extra stuff and a lot more in depth, and a lot more of a requirement for students to apply concepts in novel contexts and go more in depth in applications, real world applications to the concepts. That's basically it, short and sweet. So I'm going to hand it over.
So yeah, I just want to reiterate the importance of your 9th grader or 10th grader that's in geometry right now, that they all will go on to advanced algebra. We'll enroll them in advanced algebra if they have a C or better, or they pass geometry. And then the kids who have a B or better at the end of fall semester, they're the ones that get and are still doing well. They'll get an email invitation that will allow them to opt into honors advanced. So I guess before we move on, I'm going to zip through the other classes, but if you guys had questions for Margie or I about the honors advanced, I can ask or answer, or Margie can. Yeah. Does it go to both?
It goes to both the student and the parent. We go by student ID.
Yes. Yeah, it's around in March. Once we get all the kids kind of placed initially, then we go back through and filter out the students that got a B or better in geometry during the fall semester and send that invitation out. So we're kind of trying to allow for more student choice, like maybe a student that gets a B or even an A in geometry is maybe not as strong algebraically or has other interests, right? That they're fine taking advanced algebra. Both classes advanced and honors advanced will prepare you to move on to pre-calc and on if there's time left in your schedule to take AP calculus. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna hand you over to Margie because she knows about that.
That was all a sham, basically, because the math department had a big, long, all the district math departments had a big, long discussion about it and said, oh, we shouldn't give the grade bump, but then the board said, sorry, you don't have discretion over that. There's the grade bump. Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the grade bump comes, yeah.
The grade bump is the grade bump. The argument was it was mostly sophomore class and that the grade bump should be junior and senior, but that apparently was not something that we had any discretion over. So there is a grade bump.
Okay, so honors pre-calc, I'll just say that's the same as Margie was saying about honors advanced. We go a lot deeper into the concepts. The curriculum and the pacing is pretty much the same. So in theory, you could try honors advanced or honors pre-calc and then, oh, well, maybe this isn't for me and go down to non-honors. However, our scheduling in the math department is super duper tight. And so kids do need, I'm just gonna reiterate that kids kind of need to think about it now as to what they wanna do. We don't have as much flexibility, unfortunately, as we used to have with like, oh yeah, sure, try it out. It's better to try it out and find out that you'd rather do something else. So you kind of need to be sort of set. I wouldn't say honors pre-calculus moves necessarily faster, but we are a couple of units ahead of non-honors pre-calc right now. And we do go more in depth and cover some extra things. Its primary focus is to get kids super duper ready for AB and very ready for Calc BC if that's what they want to do. So that's honors pre-calc. And students can choose. That's again, we're trying to open it up for choice. Like a kid can decide if they want to go for honors or not. We're gently suggesting that you need to have an A or better, or A minus or better in regular advanced algebra or a B or better in honors advanced to really feel successful and comfortable in honors pre-calc. But yeah, I don't have anybody not with a C or higher in honors pre-calc, so they're all doing really well. Our calculus classes, just real quick about that, you just need to have passed regular pre-calc with a C minus or better to give calculus a whirl. But AB calculus, the difference between AB and BC, which is on the next slide, is it's one semester of calculus is AB, and BC teaches everything in AB plus more. So it's 2 semesters of college calculus. So for those of you in the know, it's Calc 1 for AB and Calc 1 and 2 for BC. So 2 semesters for BC. Susan Proch teaches the calculus classes, and I don't know, I would say that the BC definitely moves fast. So be really sure if you're a student in here thinking about it, just be really sure that you're up for that. It's a much faster paced course than the other one. But they're both college calculus, so why not, you know? Like, if you can handle it, go for it. And then I'm teaching AP Stats this year. I have a long time of teaching AP Stats, but not at the school. So I don't really know about like pass rates or things here. But it's a great class. It's a really good class. A lot of my students are taking calculus in combo with my class, and they seem to be doing just fine. They don't seem really super overwhelmed with the workload or anything like that. So this is a really good class for them to practice their writing, right? This is one of the math classes where they actually have to write instead, which is kind of an unsettling thing for kids that sign up for it and they find out they have to write. Yeah. There is right now, there's only AP statistics. We do have a course that's a combo of trig and statistics. It's one semester of trig and another semester of basic statistics. But what we're looking at starting is a data science course, which is a non-AP statistics, basically. And that one's kind of cool because that one uses like coding and all that stuff. So, all right, I get the hint.
No.
All right, so yeah, you can ask more questions later on, I guess. There you go.
Thank you.
It's up to you.
Let me, before Catherine starts, I really want to say to those of you, anybody in like the AP, probably heard about it, A, B, and BC, if you really are thinking, or your student is really thinking of taking that as a fourth year of math, right? Maybe for some it's a third year. Those classes are, staffed based on student choice. And so if they are at all thinking of doing it, they need to make that request. They need to make that request early in their course selection so we get accurate numbers of who's interested in taking the course. Again, once we run our schedule and we allocate sections, it's very difficult to acquire more sections and open them when students have changed their mind over the summer and say, oh, I think I will try it. It's really important. So if you are at all interested in that, we have kind of a big issue with that this year. It is not, we staff our graduation requirements. We will guarantee student seats for 3 years of math, right? So, because that is what our graduation requirement is. So please pass that along to your student to, even if they're not 100% sure, choose it anyway. Right? Choose it anyway and make sure we know the interest is out there for those courses. Okay.
Sorry, one quick question on that. So that is separate and distinct from the invitation email that you spoke about?
Totally separate and
separate.
distinct.
Okay.
Those are
Okay.
usually our very last classes that our students will take.
Great.
Yeah, the
Thank
AP
you.
courses don't have an invitation. It's just
Okay.
honors advance.
Okay, bonsoir tout le monde. Hola, good evening. So my name is Catherine Bellman. I'm one of the 2 French teachers here at TAM, and I'm happy to give you a quick overview of the 2 AP courses that we offer in the World Language Department. So we offer a French AP class and a Spanish AP class. So first, this I think is a great opportunity for students to develop their fluency in the language while being exposed to another culture or even another way of thinking. So you need to know that the AP exam format is the same for the French and the Spanish course, and the content is exactly the same too. So basically what I will say tonight about the French course and exam can be applied to the Spanish one. So the Senor Ted Joseph is the teacher for Spanish AP, and I am currently teaching AP French. So why students should take AP French or Spanish? Well, obviously students need to be very excited about learning the language and of course to continue the language acquisition, motivated to achieve fluency. Students also must be curious about other cultures. In the French class, for example, we explore the culture of the French-speaking world, and students draw comparison with their own community. Also, it can be very helpful for students who plan to study abroad. You know that now there are a lot of colleges that offer exchange programs abroad, to study abroad, so for 6 months or 1 year. So that kind of course might be very helpful to prep the students for that kind of exchange program. And finally, also it can be helpful for native or heritage speakers who want to refresh their skills in the language and get very familiar to the rigorous format of the AP exam. What are the requirements? Maybe, so for French, the traditional path, I would say, is students who have completed French 8, which is the 4th year of French. Also, it can be possible to go to AP from French 6, which is the 3rd year of French, but in that case, students need a strong teacher recommendation. And for native or heritage speakers, I would just suggest to contact me directly. Spanish requirements, so AP Spanish language prerequisite. So from Spanish 8, students need a B- or better with a teacher recommendation. And from Spanish 6, they need a teacher recommendation and also a passing score on an assessment. So what do you need to know about the class to be successful? So obviously the class is taught primarily in the target language. So the students will be reading and listening to authentic materials. In terms of workload, as far as French is concerned, students can expect homework every class, but I try to limit the amount of homework. Usually students spend, I would say, half an hour, maybe 40 minutes on the homework. But what would be very useful to prep for the class or the exam is for students to try to, outside the class, immerse themselves in the language by finding, engaging materials. So I tell my students, well, just listen to French music, right? Watch French movies, even English movies with French subtitles. If you like to read, right, read the French newspaper or French novel. So you'll be amazed how much your French will improve just by immersing yourself in the language while doing something that you like. Next slide. Thank you. So in terms of content, the curriculum is developed around 6 themes. So the content is very diverse and can always be connected to current topics. So this usually lead to interesting discussions and about today's current issues. So for example, in Les Défis Mondiaux, which is global challenge, we talk about the environment, global warming, but we also talk about tolerance and racism. In science and technology, we talk about the impact of technology in our life. La vie contemporaine, contemporary life, we talk about education, also advertising. La quête de soi is the identity of the language. Famille et communauté, community and family, we talk about friendship, we talk about love too. And aesthetic, we define, we try to define beauty, and also we talk about arts. So this concludes, I think, my presentation. This is just obviously a quick overview. If you want to have more information, these are our email, so myself and Mr. Joseph. Thank you for your attention. Merci. And next is...
Is there for 7-8, is there an honors that's concurrent, or is there no honors?
For Spanish, yeah, there is a 7-8.
Spanish 7-8 and Spanish are they're taught together, and your student can choose the honors 7-8 track.
Okay, hi everybody, I'm Kelly Kennedy. I am the AP Computer Science teacher, one of the AP Computer Science teachers here at TAM. I'm here to talk about the 3 options for honors in AP in our Applied Tech department. This is a pathway of our courses. There is a lot here, which I'm not going to get into, right? Lots of different directions to travel, lots of different places that students can jump in. We don't have a lot of prerequisites for our courses, but what's missing on here is our new honors architecture offering, which would come after architecture 3-4. So I'm going to talk about that. And then we've got our AP options here that students can jump into. So honors architecture is a new course that we're offering this year. The prerequisites for it are architecture 1-2 and architecture 3-4. I would talk to Mr. Parrish about students who have taken architecture 3-4 but not 1-2 who might want to go into honors. He would be able to guide them through that and that decision. We do have students who enter into architecture 3-4 and haven't taken 1-2. We're pretty flexible about allowing students to enter into our courses depending on where they're at, and your students can always have that conversation with us. So honors architecture is for that third, or is designed as that third year architecture class. We're anticipating not a lot of students will be signing up for it this year, so we'll probably have students combined with the architecture 3-4 course, and students in the honors architecture course will be further studying the styles and designs used in both residential and commercial architecture, but they'll also be pushing into larger scale urban designs like skyscrapers. They'll be looking at urban planning and public spaces. And what's cool about our architecture classes and also our engineering classes is that students get to utilize the equipment in our makerspace. So they have access to a laser engraver and 3D printers to allow them to make really cool and very accurate 3D designs of what they create. And then they can showcase those, and for honors architecture, they can participate in local and global competitions, to see what they can do and get them out there. We also tend to center our honors architecture and our engineering classes around a client-based model where they're designing homes or residential buildings for clients and their demands. Thanks, Karen. So I teach both AP Computer Science Principles and Computer Science A, which I'll talk about in a minute. I am totally biased. I think everybody should take computer science. And that is actually part of why I make this a pretty chill course. I have a lot of students who jump into this class because it is honestly considered an easier AP. I don't assign a lot of homework. I tend to go at a pretty slow pace because a lot of students haven't programmed before. I do offer extension activities for students who are more advanced, and in some cases, just a space for students to code if they've been coding since they were 5, because that's a thing now. And I totally want to support that. So I've had a lot of students actually in their senior year jump into this class. I had one student last year who now wants to study it in college, which is awesome and a major win, I think, for me and for her. So there are no prerequisites for this course. I would encourage your students, if they are sophomores, to sign up if they want to take it. We obviously can't guarantee that spot, but we don't know how many students are going to sign up. So we don't know if we can or can't offer that course. The worst that would happen is they get their second and third, and there are other options which we could offer them. So if they really want to sign up for their sophomore year, they can take it. Just know that they might not, and there is a chance, probably a fairly good chance, that they might not get it if we have to prioritize our juniors and seniors. It's project-based. Students learn the Python programming language, which is a really pretty easy language to learn compared to Java, which is the focus of Computer Science A. We also learn other concepts around computing, like how computers network, how computers actually work with digital information, because most students have no idea how a computer works. And their AP score is based on a project that they submit to the digital portfolio online. That's 30% of their score. And then a timed 2-hour multiple choice question assessment. Students don't have to take this AP exam, but it does have a pretty high pass rate, and it'll count as an elective college class if they get credit for the AP project and if they pass that AP exam. So it won't count as a computer science credit at the college level. Computer Science A will. But this will count as an elective credit. So I always encourage students to take it because it's one last class they have to take in college, which is pretty rad. So, and another thing, it fulfills, but you don't have to go back, Karen, but just going, thanks. It fulfills a D-elective science credit. So it actually, we could throw it in the science slide if we wanted to for those AP senior options. It is considered a science class according to the UCs, for what that's worth. And then AP Computer Science A fulfills a C-elective math credit, so it is a little bit like calculus. I always encourage students to take calculus too, and most of them do when they're taking this class, but it is considered a C-elective science class according to the UCs. There are no prerequisites for this course, but it's much harder. I still don't assign a ton of homework because it is an AP elective and students have a lot of other APs they're typically managing, but we do move at a faster pace. The Java programming language itself is a lot harder to learn. But I have a lot of students who jump into this class who have never coded before at all, and they do very well. I have students who also don't feel great about math and science, but they love computer science, and they do very well also. So any students interested in math, science, technology, or computer science, or who are looking to major in a STEM-based subject in college, would really benefit from taking this course and especially passing the AP exam. If students pass the AP exam for this course, they will get credit for that intro to computer science prerequisite that's needed for most STEM-based majors like engineering, math, and even many of the sciences at this point. And then the AP score is based on just a much harder test where they actually have to handwrite code and identify the output of code segments. And it's, again, focused on Java. It is still pretty project-based. I do have to teach or do need to teach the test sometimes, but I try to still keep it project-based. And there are our emails if you have any questions. Feel free to email me. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thanks for coming out. My name's Ben Cleveland, and I am one of the 2 drama teachers here at TAM, along with my lovely wife, Juliana Reese, who's managing the one-act festival next door at the theater tonight. There are 10 different drama classes, and 3 of them are honors. So they get the grade bump. 10th graders, 9th graders don't have a chance to access the honors classes in drama, but 10th graders can access honors theater directing, and that's usually possible if the 10th grader is well along in their world language. And also we have some sophomores directing who take 0-period PE. There's a 0-period PE course that lets them access honors directing. It could also allow them to access other electives at TAM that they're passionate about. TAM drama is really a smaller learning community. You can take drama for 1, 2, 3, or 4 years. We typically start with about 80 or 90 ninth graders, and then go on to about 70 sophomores, 40 juniors, and 35 or 40 seniors. So there's a natural attrition over 4 years, but a lot of our students make it a part of their high school experience for 4 years. It is definitely about teamwork and community. It's known as a home away from home for kids. I went to TAM Drama as a student and graduated in 1984 after Park School and MVMS. And the founder of the drama program taught here from 1962 to 2009. Zach was a drama student. And so it's got a long history, and the curriculum's really set. The honors directing is really the cornerstone of the program. Not a lot of homework, but a lot of responsibility and investment. When you're an honors director, you're always mentoring younger 9th graders and 10th graders. So it's really a peer teaching program, and the colleges love it. Again, juniors in drama take honors directing. Seniors, most juniors and seniors in drama take the honors directing. Then juniors and seniors in drama can take honors advanced drama 5-6 or 7-8 if they're a senior during 7th period. The advanced drama in 7th period is it's taught along with our afternoon evening stagecraft course. So tonight, right now, I have students over in the theater managing the light board who are juniors, and they're in class right now getting credit for that. So I always want to say drama at TAM is not about being an actor when you grow up or studying theater in college. I've got 4 wonderful alumni who are all doctors at UCSF, and they all could have gone to theater school, but they were in love with medicine and doubled up on science when they were seniors. You know, so it's drama is about community, capability, working as a team, telling a story, and it's really a strong sense of community. The honors work, you get the grade bump. It's not a lot of homework, but it's a lot of responsibility and community and interconnectedness. So it's a place to get passionate about something you love. We're strictly non-audition, so if you've never done any theater before, that's perfect. And if you're 15 and have an agent in San Francisco and a resume like some of my students, it's perfect for you. They all work together. Is there another slide? Let's see. Yeah, design, production, that's all part of the honors program. And let's see, drama, honors theater directing does not fill up. And also you can jump into drama at any year at TAM as a sophomore, as a junior and a senior, and you won't have to start right at the beginning. We'll match you with your same grade level and kind of backfill and catch you up with whatever you need to do. And okay. So I think that's it. And please, in the back of the room, I have flyers with all the courses and a real big description of the program. So please check out the program. Thank you.
I guess I have to come out from behind the pole. Hi, I'm Zach Gilmore. I'm representing the Visual Arts Department. I guess I'm your closer for the night. Thank you for all of you who have stayed. Well, I guess sort of a little bit now for something completely different. These are work by honors and AP students in drawing and painting, photography, and ceramics. If you'd go to the next slide, it'll show us the options. I think maybe the visual arts has more honors in AP than anyone else. Yeah. And basically what this represents, and you can see it, or I'll get somewhere, I'll stand in front of this over here. You can see our list of offerings. It is predominantly for, honors is for juniors, AP is for seniors. And you go, well, wait, but my son or daughter has done so much art and they're so wonderful. Why shouldn't they take AP when they're a sophomore? What's the rush? If they're passionate about art, they should want to take as much art as they can every year, because art, thinking of my parents who are 80 and 82 and have been artists their whole life, my father talks about, oh, I need to practice that more. I'm not very good. He's been drawing his whole life. That's what this is about starting a practice. When you get to honors and AP, these students, they're both in all our disciplines, are about making a portfolio of work and exploring and expressing you. And it starts in honors and is a little more supported, but you're creating a portfolio. Really good start on that portfolio if you want to take it off somewhere else. But just as Ben said, 2/3 of our students are not going off and going to art school because they took AP. They're going off and being, you know, tech moguls because they actually understand how to make something physical in chemistry and find the beaker. You know, they know how to work with their hands and make something out of nothing. And that's what we try to foster in our honors and AP classes. I will speak briefly to the AP test in studio art. I'll talk about AP art history in a second. The test for all us studio artists is create 20 works as a sustained investigation over an entire year. You don't cram for that at the end. You have to work and sustain a thoughtful process, which I learned in drama when I was here, about process over product. We're about creating and exploring and building. So that's what it is. The College Board asks for these things. Their idea is great. Sustained investigation. There is not one, I don't think there's any art schools out there who will accept an AP credit to get you out of a class. You will get maybe if you ask, you will get an elective credit. And contrary, though yes, it's money, my question, if you're bothering to go to art school, in what world would you not want to take another art elective? So, as you might have gathered, I'm not a big one on taking the test. That's just me. They give 20 works, they give you a number. I'm sorry, no. I see how hard these kids work. And so the only other thing I'd say, and this is not true, this is pretty much true of all our disciplines, our honors and AP courses are usually taught collectively. So in other words, for my drawing and painting students, I have honors juniors and then my AP seniors in the same class at the same time, all feeding off of each other, and the juniors are seeing what the seniors are doing. That's not to say that a senior couldn't be in honors. That would be fine. And that goes to the last point about the studio art. We have plenty of students, because there's all these offerings that you've just heard about, that will go freshmen, they take their class, their beginning class, and then they look at sophomore year and they have one slot. And their mind explodes and they take something else. And then right about now, or maybe junior year, right about now in junior year, they go, Mr. Gilmore, can I please come back? Do I have to start back where I was? And we're like, have you been drawing? Show me what you've been doing. They share, we take them off. And I've had some of the best people, actually Ben's daughter took drama early, but is an amazing painter and embroider illustrator, I guess we'd call it. And she came in and joined me in junior year and is now in a painting at UCLA.
Painting at UCLA and never considered doing the AP aspect. never did it, but 4 years of drama and 2 years of Zach and summer classes at College of Marin.
Yep, and many students do that.
Yeah.
So that's our studio arts. Strongly recommend it because it's balance. Lastly, AP Art History, an amazing, amazing course. It counts as a studio, it counts for your 1-year graduation requirement, which is a really interesting thing to think about, because if you have that student who isn't maybe quite as hands-on, wants a little bit, but likes to take in that, has maybe more different kind of brain there, this is a really nice option. I will say, the College Board has AP Art History doing the equivalent, I think in my estimation, of not 1 semester of college art, not 2, but I would say it's about 3 semesters of college art history crammed into 1 high school year. It's really fast sometimes. They don't get to go as in depth as they'd like, but it's really interesting, it's really engaging, and a really wonderful course. It's taught currently by Miss KG, as she goes by, one of our new art department teachers, and she's wonderful. So there you go. We have our last slide, which has all our names, because I'm draw paint, then you've got, I just mentioned Emma, and then we also have Gray Douglas for ceramics and Mary for photography. And if you had specific questions, that's where I'd go. So, be smart. Take visual arts all 4 years. I am completely biased.
Well, thank you very much. We do have time for a few questions. Again, I want to be super respectful of the work our teachers do and make sure I can get them out of here at 7:30. So if you have additional questions, you can ask them now. And I think our teachers will hang for just a little bit if you have specific ones. Yes?
So what's interested in AIM? Do you not do at all AP if you're doing AIM?
So the AIM program is 3 classes. It's documentary, integrated media studies. It's AP, you get AP Lit and AP Lang. And then you have an option one of the years to do honors US history. I think that's right. And then that occupies 3 of your classes, and then you have 4 others that you could fill in. Any other questions? Yeah.
It's a really elementary question. But in order to get college credit on an AP class, you have to take the AP exam. You don't get to take the class.
You have to take the AP exam, and you have to pass with it kind of depends on the school. So that would be the other thing, is to check in with your school. Yeah.
Just another question about the AP test. I don't know if I heard right. Did you say that if you take an AP class as a junior, you can't take the AP test for college credit, or it's just, I don't know if I heard that right.
You can take the AP test if you pass with a specific grade that a university designates. You will could get college credit for that course, or you would get elective credit, or it might not be credit, but it might waive a prerequisite or a requirement. It doesn't matter about junior year. No. Yeah.
So do I have this right? For English and math, you take the AP, you can opt for the AP class instead of the regular version of that class. But for science, you have to take like something in that subject area first that's not AP in order to be eligible for the AP version of it.
So most of our classes most of our AP classes are electives, with the exception of AP US History. That would be taken instead of US History, but you have to take one of the 2. In science, every student has to take 3 years of a certain science, and then based on what they've taken, they can opt into other APs as electives.
As a math thing, honors, I think what you're thinking of is there's an honors advanced algebra and a regular, and an honors pre-calculus and a regular, but there's only one AP AB Cal and one AP BC Calculus. And one AP STEM.
And there are prerequisites. You can't just, take geometry and then be like, I want to take calculus, right? There are prerequisites, but we want to give kids the opportunity to decide if they, we will counsel them. We give our recommendation as to what we think, but, it's kind of up to the student to decide if they want to challenge themselves in an honors course, more so than AP, because at AP time, they'll know whether they're going to take AP math or not, right? But if it's an honors versus a college prep course, we kind of want to give the student some agency there to decide what they want to do. However, they do have to take certain classes before, they can move on to the next class.
And then in English, you can take.
Well, I just wanted to clarify the English aspect. So to graduate high school, you have to have 4 years of English.
Yeah.
So freshman, sophomore, you're required to take the core classes, English 1 through 4, so you're automatically scheduled into it, a student. But for junior and senior, you then have a choice. They're not electives. You have a choice of the upper level English classes. And that can either be college prep or AP, but you're required to take something.
Yeah.
You can always double up if you have a room in your schedule, but that would, if it's an English class, you get English credit, theoretically.
So some is just part of the pathway, and then others, like principles of CS.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
So the difference between honors and AP is that honors can provide a grade bump, AP can provide college credit.
Both provide the grade bump. AP can provide college credit. AP is usually generally a little more standardized with its course of study and the expectations for the course. Honors is a little bit more homegrown to our school, right? There is less calibration instead of the AP, yeah.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
Honors, you get to be super creative.
Yeah.
An honors class could be way tougher than an AP class, depending on, but honors, we don't answer to anybody except our community and the course we write.
Yeah.
So
I was still a little confused about the total of 4 honors or AP that you
Yeah.
can take. Was that just sophomore, junior, or any up to senior? Because you can take those courses.
You can take those courses your senior years. However, when students apply in November to colleges, they haven't finished taking the course yet. And so the colleges don't really take into consideration. They look at your coursework 9 through 11, and then that 12th grade ends up being sort of to validate the acceptance.
One consideration is if your student has gone along, they're doing pretty well, but they're sort of trying to build their skills and their transcript, then taking that AP class or that honors class their senior year, that student who might be on the edge of college admissions, might, let's say, get deferred, or they get some kind of provisional admissions, and then that college will look at what their course grades are, not only for fall of their senior year, but may actually look at spring even of their senior year, and they might get in May or June or even July based on how well they did their senior year. So again, we really want to advocate growth over time.
That's what
right?
colleges
And
are
that
really looking
everybody
at.
has the potential.
Yeah, that's really impressive on a transcript. Colleges really look at that growth over time. That's a great point. Yeah.
So if you get into an AP class, it's your discretion if you want to take the AP test or not. Is that correct? You can take the AP.
I think that's correct. I know every teacher might have their own messaging around that, but yeah, you opt into that, yeah.
And is there ever a scenario where an honor student would want to attempt to take an AP test without taking the AP class?
Yeah. I had 2 sisters who lived in Germany till they were 8 years old, and they both took the, we don't offer German here, and they took the German AP test, and one got a 4 and one got a 5. So yeah, you can do that.
I think one other clarification, it's not just opt to take the test, it's opt to take the test and pay to take the
It is,
test.
yeah, you do have to.
It is a pay to play. It is
Okay.
not, hey, take the test and get free credit.
$100, $3,000.
pay a late fee. If you didn't pay for it on time, then you're getting extra.
Yeah, and we're here for the AP night, and it's a really interesting thing because we have to also remember that AP is College Board, which is a third-party for-profit organization. So I think someone made a point, and I think Sandy made a really great point, is we have a fantastic College of Marin Junior College, and I used to work in a school where we required our students to take 12 units of college credit before they graduated. And the things that college admissions officers said when they saw that on transcripts, right, that you saw college level classes, and AP classes are great, but also the college level classes that kids were really stretching is also a great experience. So I think, again, it comes back to the concept of balance, right? I do see a lot of students who are taking 4, maybe 5 AP/honors out of 7 classes. That's a lot, that's an awful lot. And that's not a lot of balance. I'd much prefer to see someone challenge themselves by taking maybe a couple here and maybe a college class, or take 1 here and try a College of Marin class to get that experience of being on a college campus, before you leave high school. So thank you so much for coming out tonight. Really appreciate it. Thank you all, staff members. Appreciate you.